It began with a map, old, torn, and covered in symbols no one could read. Dr. Evelyn Hart, an archaeologist known for her relentless curiosity, found it buried inside a forgotten chest in the archives of the London Museum. The parchment was brittle, its ink faded, but one thing was clear. It depicted a sprawling city hidden deep in the jungles of South America, a place believed to have vanished thousands of years ago. Locals called it Illyria, the City of Light. Legends spoke of streets paved with gold, towers made of crystal, and a civilization so advanced it seemed to blend magic and science. Scholars dismissed it as myth, but Evelyn saw patterns in the drawings, astronomical alignments, river shapes, and markings consistent with ancient navigation systems. She was convinced Illyria was real, and she intended to find it. The expedition begins. Within weeks, Evelyn assembled a small team. Miguel Santos, a local guide with unmatched knowledge of the Amazon. Dr. Clara Nugent, a linguist specializing in pre-Columbian scripts. And Ryan Blake, a geologist whose skepticism balanced Evelyn's idealism. Together, they set out on a journey that would test their endurance, intelligence, and courage. Their helicopter dropped them near the edge of the rainforest, where civilization faded into endless green. From there, they traveled on foot, machetes slicing through dense vines. The jungle pulsed with life unseen eyes watched from the shadows, and the air was thick with humidity and mystery. At night, under a canopy of stars, they studied the map by flashlight. Each mark corresponded to constellations, suggesting the city's location shifted with the stars, as if it existed both in geography and in time. Signs of the forgotten world. By the third day, strange discoveries began to appear. Miguel found stone carvings partially swallowed by roots, faces of unknown gods and animals that seemed almost mechanical. Clara identified a repeating symbol, a sun with two intersecting circles. "This isn't just art," she whispered. "It's a calendar or a mechanism." Further ahead, they stumbled upon a massive stone archway, covered in moss but still perfectly symmetrical. The architecture was unlike any known culture. The stones emitted a faint glow at dusk, as if absorbing sunlight. Ryan tested them and found traces of quartz and an unknown mineral that reacted to electromagnetic fields. "This shouldn't exist," he said in disbelief. But it did, and it was leading them closer. The hidden path. On the fifth day, the jungle opened into a valley, concealed by mist. The sound of rushing water echoed from below. Following the river downstream, they discovered an enormous waterfall cascading into a hidden basin. Behind it, barely visible through the mist, was a cave entrance carved into the cliff. Evelyn's pulse quickened. "This is it," she said. They climbed carefully through the slippery rocks, stepping behind the curtain of water, and found themselves inside a vast cavern. The walls shimmered with crystals, illuminating ancient murals that depicted human figures holding spheres of light, surrounded by floating structures. "Look at this," Clara said, tracing her fingers over the carvings. They had technology we can't even explain. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal. On it lay a disc made of a metal that glowed faintly when touched. Symbols spiraled around it, the same ones from the map. As they studied it, the ground trembled slightly, as if something deep beneath the earth had awakened. The discovery. The cave led them into a tunnel system that stretched for miles. The air grew colder, and the silence was almost sacred. When they finally emerged, they stood before a sight that stole their breath, an entire city. Hidden beneath the earth, perfectly preserved, towering pillars lined the streets, their surfaces covered in glowing patterns. Water flowed through channels that seemed to power the structures. The architecture blended natural forms and geometry, buildings shaped like shells, trees intertwined with stone. It was both alien and beautiful. Evelyn whispered, "We've found the lost city." They explored carefully. The city was empty, but felt alive. Each step triggered faint lights that responded to movement, as if welcoming them. In a central plaza stood a giant statue of a figure holding a sphere of energy. Beneath it, an inscription read, "The light is memory." Clara deciphered the rest. It says the people of Eloria harnessed energy from the sun and the earth. They believed knowledge itself was a form of light. Ryan, scanning the area with his instruments, was stunned. These structures are generating power. After thousands of years, the awakening, but as they delved deeper into the city's heart, something unexpected happened. The air began to vibrate with a low hum. The light grew brighter. The disc they carried from the cave started spinning on its own, floating above the pedestal where Evelyn placed it. The city responded. Holographic images flickered to life projections of the ancient Elorians. They appeared as tall, radiant beings, speaking in melodic tones that Clara struggled to translate. One phrase repeated, "Guard the light. Do not let it fade." Evelyn realized the city wasn't just a ruin. It was a message, a warning from a civilization that had mastered energy beyond comprehension and perhaps destroyed itself because of it. Then, as suddenly as it began, the lights dimmed. The disc fell silent. The city returned to stillness. The team emerged from the valley days later, exhausted and forever changed. They carried photos, notes, and samples, but the true discovery couldn't be measured. Eloria had shown them not just the brilliance of an ancient people, but the fragility of human progress. Back in London, Evelyn presented their findings, but few believed her. The photos were dismissed as fabrications, the samples inconclusive. Funding agencies refused to support further research. Yet, deep in her heart, Evelyn knew what she had seen was real. The lost city existed. A place where knowledge and light once merged, where humanity touched something divine and then vanished. Late at night, she would stare at the glowing mineral sample on her desk, watching it pulse faintly as if breathing. Sometimes, when the room was quiet, she thought she heard that same ancient whisper, "Guard the light, do not let it fade." And she understood the mystery of the lost city wasn't about treasure or glory. It was a reminder that every civilization must decide how to use its light to build or to burn.